So this is a fully deployed version of this. Now, what happens is that when it gets fully deployed, I mean, this is what my models are telling me, is that at each, when another one intersects and a third one intersects, you set up a model for the fractal to begin at that point. And what happens is this unit, this intersection is in essence what happened right here. And now this point starts to deploy. And it starts its deployments and getting larger and larger. And it pulls its energy from this one. So what this is a model of life cycles. You know, we start out as a few little cells, we come out as developed beings, and at some point we exhaust the energy of our system and it collapses. And it goes back into the manure pile of the universe, and another creature can be preserved. And what preserves that is this structure, this DNA structure, whatever you want to call it. That's what gets passed on to each. In other words, the nuclear core is where the information is, the DNA of every particle. So most times when you think of fractals, they just keep on going forever. But in this case, the fractal has limitations of growth, and then it becomes and produces in its development the opportunity for new fractals to occur, which is kind of a very biological look at the whole thing. So that was just another
which is nice
take on it.
That what saves us from pure mechanism.
Right.
The concept of form is a biological concept. I mean, I'm gonna defend the word form from all other points of view. You know, that's part of natural philosophy.
Yeah, I like that observation.
You know,
I really do.
you are creating like a biological interpretation of physics, which is correctly interpreted is the way we have to work. Okay.
Yes.
I hope this is not off topic. I just want to say it before I forget it. I used that trick before. It didn't work. What I want to suggest is possibly all these processes are time reversible. I mean, I'm reading this book called The Arrow of Time, and it points out that quantum mechanics and Newtonian mechanics are all time reversible. You know, in a sense, the planet orbits because it's easily go backwards as they go forwards, and so forth. I guess I don't need to get into that, but my idea of the universe is there's two of them. There's an anti-universe that we cannot perceive, but it's there, and we use stuff coming from it. Also,
I totally
it
agree.
uses stuff the stuff that we're finished with, it says, oh man, thanks, I need that. So we use its waste, it uses our waste.
To me, that the antimatter aspect of things, which is baffle physics, where the hell is the missing antimatter, is summed up in a model like this. This is called an ambistructure. And what it is a right-handed and left-handed together. It's one of these, right-handed and left-handed, sharing the same domain. And what I think is happening is the structure that's on the outside is the one we call real. And the structure that's on the inside is the one we call the anti-world. And
We could call it virtual.
Give it any name you want. But it's the interaction of these two, just as the interaction of this wave shows that both of these right-handed and left-handed structures are there. And as we know, the only difference between antimatter and real matter is its handedness. Everything else is identical.
Is what?
Handedness.
Handedness.
It's
Left or right.
whether it's right or left. The positron moves through a magnetic field the opposite direction that an electron does.
Here's a question.
Yes, sir.
These models that you built, do they represent the path of what the light is taking?
Yes.
Or they do?
They do.
Can you give us any insight on what the actual quanta or structure or segment of an individual ray of light, the geometry and structure of that? Have you done it? I mean,
Yeah, well.
this reminds me like, you know, the cord that with the electricity or the whatever follows.
Yeah.
But what is the electricity or what is the light itself that's going through this? Have you,
Well, at the
can you
scale.
give us any insight into that structure?
For instance, at the electron level, I'm being told by these models that is the interaction of light rays interacting with themselves in 3 dimensions, and that when you get a circuit established that is in 3 dimensions, the electron forms. And it's a holding pattern. It's the light held to a domain. And the reason I feel this is true is that if you take an electron and its antiparticle, the opposite handedness, and bring them together, you go back to light. High energy light, gamma light. But it's light. So the universe is built with light. And all the forms that we produce with like the electron gets to a certain amount of energy and it will morph into a proton. And it will go into what's called the superstructure state, this one. It will go from this to this because it can't handle any more energy. And when it gets to saturation energy, then if you add up the number of loops in that structure, you find that the combined energy of a saturated electron is equal to the rest energy of a proton.
How does it make that transition?
That's the problem of creation.
That is the question, because
it happens by itself. Here, Don Briddell is doing it.
Yeah.
Nature does it by itself.
but nature has a way of doing it, and because this is a theory of structure, it is scalable. And what it's telling me is it's possible to scale up an electron and protons and fundamental particles to our scale, and we should be able to build it at this scale. And so where I want to take this to practical applications is the building of a macro atom, say about a centimeter in size.
Yeah.
And I think I've talked to many of you
Like
about this.
an egg is a big cell.
Yeah,
The chicken egg is a big cell.
yeah.
It's a mono cell. I don't like the word scalable.
Like the word what?
The word scalable.
Oh, scalable.
I don't like it because of the interpretation, the connotation. I mean, it can be rescued. But anyway, you said before a statement, everything is made of light, the electron is made of light. Do you give your life for that statement?
Absolutely.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah. And I think, it's entirely possible to even experience that. That's not an abstraction. That's something that can be experienced, but that gets into metaphysics.
you know, because there are theologians like San Bonaventure, contemporary of St. Thomas Aquinas, that said that the higher a body is, the more it partakes of the nature of light.
Mm.
And Newton said, why nature cannot convert things into light and light into matter, which is EMC squared.
Yeah.
Amazingly, what an insight.
Don,
Yes.
just to prevent us from going down that path too far, let me change the subject briefly.